At office. I normally during hot weather I drink a lot of water and juice and try stay far away from direct sun. Regarding to clothes, I try to wear cotton clothes because here it is very hot. So if you don't wear cotton clothes, it will be very difficult for you.
Very useful tips there from Abdullah in Saudi Arabia wearing cotton clothes. We have a message now from Qatar.
Qatar, the weather is very hot. Today temperature is 44 Celsius temperature hot today. I'm an interior designer. So my job in only office. I am doing office work. I don't go outside. Today temperature is 44. Today days is very hot. So I don't try to go outside. I eat normal food, normal water. I drink normal water.
You heard our contributor there from Qatar saying they do not go outside. Perhaps a very wise piece of advice. This is OS on the BBC with James Reynolds. We are live from our studio in central London. Well, let's take a look at a few stories which are on our website. A plane has crashed and flipped over as it landed in Somalia's capital. None of the 36 passengers died, but dramatic footage shows thick black smoke rising from the crash site at the airport in the capital Mogadishu. The Jabba Airways plane was an internal flight from the city of Baidoa. At least 30 green sea turtles have been found dead on a beach at a remote Japanese island. Locals on Kumejima Island found the turtles. Many had stab wounds on their necks. Police are investigating claims of animal cruelty. And fans are mourning the death of Ada Ame, a 48-year-old veteran Nigerian actor and comedian. She was famous for her role in the popular long-running sitcom The Johnsons. She died in a hospital in Delta State. Staying in Africa now, and in West Africa in particular, Ghana has confirmed its first 2 deaths from the Marburg virus. We'll hear shortly from our correspondent in Accra to take us through the outbreak in Ghana. But firstly, let's get some more information on the virus itself. Here's Emily Haller from the OS team.
The Marburg virus is a highly infectious disease in the same family as the virus that causes Ebola. It's a hemorrhagic fever. This means it damages the blood vessels and affects the organ system of the body. It's a severe, often fatal illness, and the symptoms include headaches, fever, muscle pains, vomiting blood, and bleeding from the body's orifices. The virus is transmitted to people from fruit bats and spreads between humans through the transmission of bodily fluids. So when fluids like blood, urine, saliva and semen come into direct contact with the eyes, nose, mouth or broken skin, like a cut. There's no treatment yet for Marburg, but doctors say keeping hydrated and treating specific symptoms improves a patient's chance of survival. The first ever Marburg outbreak was in Germany in 1967 when 7 people died. The virus killed more than 200 people in Angola in 2005, which is the deadliest outbreak on record. There was 1 confirmed case in Guinea last year, but that outbreak was declared over 5 weeks later. In past outbreaks, the fatality rate has varied from 24% to 88%, depending on the virus strain and how patients are treated. There's not huge amounts of data, but according to the World Health Organization, the average fatality rate for Marburg is around 50%.
Emily Haller there with that explainer on the Marburg virus. Well, Thomas Nadi is our correspondent in Accra to bring us right up to date. Thomas, what do we know about this outbreak in Ghana? How serious is it?
Well, 2 male adults reported to the Adansino district hospital in the Ashanti region in southern Ghana on different days. That is the 26th and 28th of June, respectively. But unfortunately, they died shortly after and exhibited symptoms of the virus. So further laboratory investigation was needed. And on the 7th of July, Ghana announced that the 2 suspected cases of Marburg virus were confirmed by the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. And in line with standard procedure, it had to be confirmed by the WHO partner laboratory, Institute Pasteur in Dakar, Senegal. So Ghana officially declared an outbreak yesterday, which is the 17th of July. And since then, health teams have been deployed to the area. Surveillance have been heightened just to try to contain the spread of the virus. And we do know that 98 contacts have been identified and quarantined, and 13 randomly selected tested negative. So no new cases of the virus have been recorded so far.
And Thomas, when you assess the response of the government, how concerned do they appear to be?
Well, the authorities are quite concerned because this is the first time Ghana has recorded the Marburg virus. So and it's a highly infectious disease. So they are very careful how they manage this. When they first reported the suspected cases, they immediately deployed health teams to the locality to try to contain a possible outbreak. And now the WHO has also been assisting local health authorities to heighten surveillance and also assess the situation. And they've also been educating local communities about the dangers and prevention of the virus.
Thomas Nadi, our correspondent in Accra, thank you so much for bringing us right up to date with the authorities' response to that outbreak of the Marburg virus. You can find more on that story on our website, where we also continue to cover the heatwave, which is affecting here in the UK and also in mainland Europe. I'm James Reynolds. You're listening to OS, BBC World Service.
This is the BBC World Service, where Rosa Ellis continues the story of the man who stole the bomb.
It's 1941 and Klaus Fuchs is at the centre of the British tube alloys project. Its objective? To create an atomic bomb.
They knew this uranium would work, but, how to get enough of it for a detonation was the challenge.
Fuchs is a brilliant physicist, but he's also a Soviet spy, passing secrets to his handler, Agent Sonia, my great-aunt.
She was running a network of agents in Britain. She was at the top.
When Fuchs is recruited to the USA's atomic effort, his credentials are questioned. Will his socialist past get in the way of the mission?
The Bomb, Series 2, at bbcworldservice.com/thebomb.
Hello, this is James Reynolds, live from the BBC in central London. Welcome to OS. We are going to head back to Sri Lanka, a country in economic and political turmoil. We're going to have a look at the impact of the country's long civil war, which ended in 2009. Did the country manage to reconcile after those decades of internal conflict? And how has the legacy of that war affected and informed the current crisis?
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Scientists say almost half the territory of the European Union and Britain is at risk of drought as Western Europe suffers a severe heatwave. EU researchers say crops are being subjected to water and heat stress. The Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, has called for maximum caution as temperatures reach record or near-record levels in several places on the continent. He said climate change killed people, ecosystems and businesses. Wildfires are burning across Europe, fueled by the hot conditions. 11,000 more people have been evacuated in France's western Gironde region, where hundreds of firefighters are tackling blazes. The European Commission has signed a memorandum of understanding with Azerbaijan, aiming to double the amount of gas it imports from Baku. The Commission's head, Ursula von der Leyen, said it was part of efforts to diversify away from Russian energy. President Putin has vowed to overcome what he called colossal high-tech problems caused by international sanctions over Ukraine. Calling it a huge challenge, he promised to look for new solutions in an energetic and competent manner. Jury selection has begun in the trial of Steve Bannon, the former close aide to Donald Trump. He faces charges of criminal contempt of Congress for refusing to cooperate with the investigation into the storming of the Capitol last year. The sentencing trial has begun for the man who carried out the deadliest shooting in a US high school. A jury will decide whether Nicholas Cruz should be sentenced to death or life imprisonment for killing 17 students and staff in Parkland, Florida. Iranian officials have conceded that mistakes have been made in the restoration of a 17th century mosque in Esfahan. It's considered an architectural masterpiece. Photos of the Shah Mosque appear to show that one side of the dome is uneven. That's the latest BBC News.
BBC World Service, thank you so much for your company. Well, the weather's been so hot in the UK, the BBC has started its own live page on our website to keep people up to date. There's an article here, Vans, Fans and Oven Bans, how schools are coping. Just to explain, if you don't live in the UK, we are not used to hot summers. Our buildings are not designed for that, and some schools here in London have broken up at midday because the classrooms simply get too hot after that time. My parents have been told, pick them up for their own safety. We'll continue to keep you right up to date with that, and indeed the wildfires which are affecting Spain, Portugal, Greece and France. We want to turn now to a story we've covered a lot over the last few days, the situation in Sri Lanka. In recent weeks, thousands of Sri Lankans have been in the streets of the capital Colombo and other towns and cities. They've been angered by the country's deepening economic crisis. Many blame President Paksa for the crisis. You might remember he fled the country last week and then resigned. And now the country is trying to sort out who might replace him in Parliament. Our correspondent Anbarasan joins me, I should say, from Colombo. Anbarasan, bring us right up to date, please, with what's happening today.
Political parties here in Sri Lanka have been holding hectic negotiations regarding the presidential election on Wednesday. The parliament will choose the new president after President Cocorite-July fled the country and resigned. Now the acting president is Ranil Wickremesinghe. He's one of the front runners in the presidential election, the main opposition leader and also another leader from the governing party, Dalla Salakaperma. Both are now running for presidency. In the meantime, the acting president, Mr. Wickremesinghe, issued a statement outlining the challenges facing the country and what are the actions being taken. One of them is about how he's very hopeful of getting the bailout loan from the IMF because Sri Lanka is facing a dire economic crisis. It needs more foreign currency to manage the economy.
And Barasan, do stay with us because we also want to talk about a time that some of our older listeners might remember, the lingering effects of the civil war that affected the country from 1983 to 2009. In a moment, we'll listen to a conversation recorded on the subject. But Anbarasan, could you just remind our audience, what was that long civil war about and how did it end?
It all started the Tamil minority in Sri Lanka complaining about the discrimination by the majority Sinhalese even soon after the British left the island in 1948. Tamils constituted about 10 to 13% of the population, and they said their language rights were denied.